Well, welcome to First Dakota's AgriVisions podcast. Today, we are really excited to have Dr. David Kohl with us, the great professor that we've worked with for many years. I'm Nate Franzén, president of Ag Banking at First Dakota. And let's just jump right in, Professor. What is our theme for today?
Well, I'll tell you, the theme for today is managing the economic shockwaves. And what a great day to do it because it's National Agriculture Day.
Yeah, National Ag Day. We're up here and getting ready for our Beginning Farmer program. So great day ahead of us. But let's dive right in to the subject matter, the economic shockwaves. And let's just start with the geopolitical, Dr. Kohl. Ukraine, Russia, it's on everybody's mind. What's the real impact of what's going on over there?
You know, it's really interesting, Nate, when you look at that invasion February 24th, it represents 29% of the world's wheat production, 80% of sunflower, but 10% of the corn export and 10% of our oil. And of course, our agriculture industry is very, very reliant on oil and energy, 80% of the farm expenses. So this is one of the big economic shockwaves. And you know what? We've seen a decade of change in 2 weeks or 3 or 4 weeks here. And so this is going to be with us a while because as you look at all the bombing going on and all the missiles coming in there, it's impacted the infrastructure and it's also impacted the human component. And you can't put a price on that. And of course that Ukraine is the breadbasket of Europe. So it's definitely having some shockwaves.
Yeah, it's one of the shockwaves we're talking about here, isn't it? And the thing I think about, even if Russia and Ukraine reach some kind of peace settlement, the trickle effect, not just because of infrastructure, but because of the lack of trust globally.
Oh, yeah.
I guess one positive is NATO has really band together, it appears, in a united fashion on this, and maybe that has some positive long-term effects.
Yeah, that has definitely been a positive, and in other words, you're seeing the Western nations kind of join together, but then on the other hand, you're seeing China and Russia and Iran, they're kind of joining together. And Nate, I think this is the beginning of a longer term trend from globalization to regionalization. You know, when I've been with the bank before, and of course we do the articles, I talked about the deglobalization, after World War II, up to about 2015, we're in globalization. Of course, agriculture enjoys globalization because we export quite a little bit of our agricultural product. Now I think we're in an accelerated trend of bringing supply chains back into a region. For example, the United States, Canada, Mexico, and Central America are joining together, and the Asian region is doing the same thing. So this could be an impact that could be longer term. And Nate, the big question I'm getting right now is this 1978 and 79. It's got a lot of the feelings. It's almost like Yogi Berra would say, deja vu all over again.
Yeah. We sure think about that a lot here at the bank, as you would expect. And I guess my initial reaction to that is I hope not.
Yeah.
Certainly there are some similarities, though. I continue to have faith that the Fed is going to get ahead of this. We'll see. That's yet to play out. And will it be a soft landing or a hard landing? And that we're going to find that out over the next couple of years, I think, with the Fed making their first move here recently, a quarter point up. Discussion amongst Fed presidents of is that fast enough? Maybe we need to move faster. You heard that here recently, which had the markets reacting. So we'll see. I guess what I'm really excited about is that because of our Dakota Mac products and how we work with our producers, we've really worked hard the last few years to fix interest rates on the balance sheets for our clients and really try and prepare our clients the best we can for this kind of an environment, and that hopefully will pay us dividends here as we go forward.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I can honestly enjoy working with you. You've been creative, and one of the things is you've been able to customize solutions. And again, these fixed interest rates are going to be very, very important. And as we look at the Fed, Nate, and you've heard Mr. Bullard or Dr. Bullard down at the St. Louis Fed say, well, we need to increase interest rates, 300 basis points and kind of like that. Our business folks better pay attention to that. And though I will contend that the Chairman Powell cannot cure inflation by just the Fed increasing interest rates, because the Fed didn't create this type of situation. We basically, you know, Nate, we've got what, $7 trillion worth of stimulus, and on an $85 trillion world economy, 14% of it was a check written by governments in Europe, here in the United States, and throughout the world. So right now we've got $1.23 of money chasing 91 cents of goods, and so basically it's bringing that inflation, and the genie got out of the bottle, and so it's going to be interesting to see if this increase in interest rates pulls us into a recession. That will cure inflation in the longer term.
Yeah, that's harder landing you're talking about would fix the inflation. Let's transition this conversation about the macroeconomic situation directly to agriculture.
Oh, yeah.
How is this impacting agriculture in your estimation?
Well, I think one of the things is there's a lot of uncertainty. And one of the things that I'm telling producer groups, you got to manage the controllables and manage around the uncontrollables. You can't manage what's coming out of Washington, D.C. or Beijing or Moscow. You have to manage manage the controllables, and you know, that's your finances, your marketing, your risk management. And you know, one of the things I'm seeing a group of producers that really get it, and they're really zeroing in. And you know, the past couple of years, it's analogous to what Dick Vitale calls the cupcake schedule. In other words, it's been kind of easy. We had the government, you know, stimulus checks and all those things. Now we're coming into the tougher part of the schedule, and we're coming into, you know, the tournament. And so we're really going to have to step up the financials. And Nate, you know, this whole idea of looking at the financials one time a year, instructing the accountants to save taxes, and it's not going to cut it in particularly, not necessarily 2022, but 2023, we're going to have to zero in. Are you seeing the same thing out there?
Absolutely, and we've preached this for years, as you know, Dr. Kohl, you know, the importance of financial management. We'll be talking to our young producers about it over the next couple of days. But it's fun to watch a segment of our client base really embrace that. And those that do, it's been a joy to work as partners with them. They're doing things around risk management. This commodity market is high, but it is volatile. And we've had to put some special lines of credit in place to help with margin calls in this crazy volatility today. And we're happy to do that when we know they have a solid marketing plan, and it's about risk management and margin management, right? Agriculture is all about margin management, and our best producers are doing that on the revenue side. They're also doing it on the input cost side, and we know how challenging input costs are right now, and we've seen producers buy storage facilities, take possession of product to manage that risk. I mean, they're doing it at more extreme levels than I've ever seen them do it before, but I'm confident that's going to pay some real dividends for folks that really got ahead of that curve and are really out there managing the manageables that you talked about.
Well, and you know, another thing that your team's always stressed is financial liquidity, that top half of that balance sheet. And you know, we look at the FinBin data out of the University of Minnesota, which covers 22 states. You know, the top 20% of producers have 44% of their expenses in working capital, the bottom 20, 11%. And when you talk about margin call, who's going to be able to adapt? Who is resilient? Well, it's going to be those folks with that working capital. And, you know, it's interesting, Nate. I don't care if it's a nation, a business, or a personal household. Where's the choke point? It's always financial liquidity. And so that's one of the things that we really find producers are zeroing in on that, and lenders are really zeroing in on that.
We're heading into that time where you know, cash is always king, but right now more than ever, isn't it? How do you handle the volatility and the unknowns? You got to have that safety net there for yourself.
And it's kind of interesting you mentioned that, Nate. One of the things is I now call it cash is queen. And when I was working up in Canada, one of the Royal Bank ladies said, you know, have you ever played chess? And I said, yeah, as a youth. And she says, you know, a business is like a chessboard. with a series of moves. And the most important player is the queen. The queen's there for block and adversity, but also take advantage of opportunities. And that guy down there in Omaha doesn't keep $200 billion of cash around for anything. And I'm talking about Warren Buffett, and that is very, very important. So, we've got these shockwaves, and everybody takes a negative look. I really feel that there's a lot of opportunity, and the folks that manage the controllables, have the working capital, and have a good relationship lender. I think that's going to be imperative. You're going to be able to take advantage of times that we have like this, where you will see a decade of change in a matter of a couple of months or a couple of weeks.
Dave, as we look to maybe wrap this up here soon, I want to just throw a couple closing thoughts in there, and I want to take your comment about having a good relationship banker and even expand it. It's well beyond your banker, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
The operations we see really doing well have worked that relationship well beyond the banker to the accountant, to legal, risk management, all kinds of resources out there. They understand where they're weak, and they find that key relationship and that partnership to make them stronger.
Exactly, and it's one of the major mega trends that I'm seeing. I do a lot of work throughout the country, but also around the world. Team of advisors, very, very critical in managing the shockwaves.
All right. Well, thanks for being with us for our AgriVisions podcast.